During the early morning hearing, which led to a partial gag order on former President Donald Trump, U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan apparently heard some pretty amusing arguments from Trump's lawyers. In fact, it was enough to make her literally laugh in their face. As described by Politico's Josh Gerstein, Lauro tried to argue that no new restrictions on Trump's ability to publicly discuss criminal charges being leveled against him were needed, on the grounds that the ones already put in place are quote unquote working. Really? According to Gerstein, Chutkan, quote, literally laughed in his face in response and said, "I have to take issue with you, Mr. Lauro. Yes, for being maybe a comedian. I don't know. Maybe that's what Lauro was doing before he became Trump's lawyer. I mean, it's not like Donald Trump can really hire the best and brightest lawyers. Maybe this person was trying to, switch careers from comedian to lawyer. I don't know. There might be some overlap there, and listen, at least in this case. Now, look, to push back, she, of course, went through some of Trump's more incendiary social media posts that have been flagged by special counsel Jack Smith's team, who, by the way, brought this request to the judge. One of the examples was when he called for the execution of General Mark Milley. Yes, that's the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I mean, again, calling him a literal traitor, accusing him of treason, and then saying, treason, people who commit treason get executed. Yeah. Now, Chutkan also drew laughs from people in the courtroom when she referenced Trump's Truth Social post, referring to Washington, D.C. as, quote, filthy and crime-ridden. Well, I mean, isn't part of what she's doing trying to get rid of the crime? Looking at a alleged criminal right here. Now, Lauro also informed the court that he had once served as an advisory neighborhood commissioner in the nation's capital, and so that's what made it funny, because he was working, trying to make a better place. Apparently, according to his client, didn't do a good job. Ironic. Look, there's a lot of arguments here that were absurd. Trump's team basically argued that he should be allowed to threaten anyone he wants publicly, because that's part of his First Amendment rights. So now, during this hearing, Chutkan had asked the defense, okay, so are you saying that Donald Trump gets to make threats and do witness intimidation because he's running for president? Is that like a perk of running for political office? If you're a defendant in a criminal case, do you just get to threaten a jury? Is that what's going on? You get to threaten the prosecutors? You get to threaten the judge? Is that something? Because I didn't know that was the rules. But that's what they're arguing. Now, the defense responded that he's entitled to speak truth to oppression. Oh, poor Trump is being oppressed. Oh, my God. Really. Quote, he's even allowed to say things insulting to these prosecutors, as difficult as it may be for them to hear. Okay, look, insulting them and saying, I don't like you, I think you're dumb, and the arguments you make suck. All right, well, it's kind of different than saying, again, a lot of the stuff that he has said about, for example, Jack Smith. He's basically, a communist and all this just weird stuff. These allegations he's made against these, these prosecutors. Oh, they're part of some deep state plot to get Trump. No, that's ridiculous. Probably shouldn't be saying those things. Okay? And there's more. He had mentioned tyranny in the Biden administration, to which Chutkan had cut him off, saying that she doesn't want to hear quote-unquote campaign rhetoric, and that's what it is, campaign rhetoric. And by the way, throughout the hearing, Lauro brought up Joe Biden and even Hunter Biden, who, I remind you, not on trial here. This has nothing to do with Hunter Biden. It has nothing to do with Joe Biden. As Scott McFarland had noted on Twitter, defense argued any gag order would be asymmetrical and wouldn't apply to Joe Biden. Why would it apply to Joe Biden? He's not a party of the case, and he's not under, as the judge put it, release conditions. Why would there be a gag? Again, this is not. It's not political. Trump has been accused of serious crimes. It's ridiculous. Now, defense attorney John Lauro also later defended Trump's statement about D.C. by pivoting to criticism of course, Biden. The judge had interjected and said Biden isn't mentioned in Trump's D.C. statement. The defense also made an argument about if Trump should be more limited in his speech than Hunter Biden. The defense said George Orwell would have a field day. Oh, would he? The judge says Hunter Biden is not a party to the case because he's not, and then jokes, yes, George Orwell would have a field day. True. So, again, a lot of absurd things that were argued today, including how Trump had diligently followed pretrial restrictions on his statements, which, of course, not true, which is why Smith argued successfully. His team argued that, yeah, we should have a partial gag order on Trump. His lawyers, Trump's lawyers made no good argument as to why a person that is a defendant in pretrial release in a criminal proceeding should be allowed to openly intimidate witnesses. That's clearly what he's doing. He is allowed to campaign, but shouldn't be referencing the jury pool, Jack Smith, judges and their staffs, or political witnesses. That's just not something that you should be doing. And so that's what the judge's ruling does. No. It also restrains him from impugning prosecutors, court personnel, and witnesses from inciting violence. Sorry. Now, the question, of course, is how long can he comply? Now, he already put out a statement saying witch hunt. Okay, that's fine. Witch hunt, gag order, I will appeal. Okay, fine, perfectly fine. It doesn't violate the order. But at some point, as I mentioned before, this dam is going to break. He's not going to be able to keep himself silent. No, it's going to get to a point where he cannot help himself but attack Judge Chutkan and Jack Smith.